Hola, my name is Nelida Barajas, Executive Director of the Intercultural Center for the Studies of Desert and Oceans, CIDO, and on behalf of people and institutions that consolidate the Freshwater Working Group, I have the honor to share with you in the World Species Congress our project. But first, let me highlight that freshwater ecosystems in arid regions are amongst the more threatened biomes. Water over-extraction, habitat degradation, flow modification, and climate change are directly impacting biodiversity and ecosystem functions. Water scarcity in arid regions make visible the nexus between humankind and wildlife. The collective conservation efforts to conserve and educate communities in the Southwest U.S. and Northwest Mexico borderlands for the endangered freshwater fish of the Sonoyta River demonstrates how local project contributes to the Mesoamerican Freshwater Conservation Alliance. The Rio Sonoyta is a binational watershed shared between Mexico and U.S., Arizona and Sonora, and covers roughly 3,000 square kilometers. The ephemeral drainage originates near Sierra del Pozo Verde in Mexico, running northwest in Sonora and crossing into the United States, where it turns west as Bamori Wash, then joins San Simon Wash and crosses back into Mexico to finally discharge in the Gulf of California when water is available. In this basin, the two biggest oases in the Sonoran Desert ecoregion can be found: Quirobaquiro in the United States and Quirobac in Mexico. Also, the last remaining of the river is located in Agua Dulce Ramsar site in the Biosphere Reserve El Pinacate and Gran Desierto de Altar. Along its journey between U.S., Mexico, and the Tohono O'odham nations, endemic freshwater species were found. Amongst them, the Sonoyta longfin dace, Agosia chrysogaster, the one that we are seeing in the video, and Sonoyta pupfish, Cyprinodon eremus, both listed in the IUCN Red List. Since 2005, freshwater specialists from Mexico and the United States documented the decline on this species population in the wild. And sadly, since 2008, the Sonoyta longfin dace has not been collected in the river. This alarming situation set an extraordinary binational project in motion 19 years ago with the construction of refugee ponds as an ex situ conservation strategy. Sonoyta pupfish, Cyprinodon eremus specimens were collected from two lineages and set in conservation in both countries. The fish for the 7 conservation ponds in the United States came from Quirobaquiro Spring in Organ Pipe National Monument. And these are some of the examples how the day looks like nowadays. This is the original source, Quirobaquiro Pond, recently renovated or improved. And this is Organ Pipe National Monument Pond in the Visitor Center. And this is Cabeza Prieta Pond, also in the Visitor Center in Ajo, Arizona. The genetic lineage for the Mexican ponds originates in the Rio Sonoyta, where we can find in this map the sites where the ponds are located. So we have the original source again, and then the Colegio de Bachilleres de Sonora, Cobach, Plantel Sonoyta, the Pinacate Field Station in the Biosphere Reserve El Pinacate, Cerro Campus, Sedmar School, and the Centro Ecológico de Sonora in Hermosillo. As well, a population were introduced into Quito Vaquero Springs by Dr. Minkley and Dr. Duncan years ago. But the story is different for Agosia chrysogaster. The only source of genetic material came from the Rio Sonoyta, and nowadays, as I mentioned, it is extirpated. And the only population, even when populations were introduced in all the ponds, the only remaining is in Cerro Campus in Puerto Peñasco. And this is how the pond looks like. Important to notice is the heterogeneity on landscaping on the habitat in the ponds is providing evidence on how well the species is surviving. So we have areas where the water is running and other deep areas for reproduction and protection. It is important to mention that from 2008 to 2015, the Binational Freshwater Group provided advice and monitored conservation pond populations with few resources for maintenance and pond replacement parts. Here, you can see people that plays crucial roles in that time, like Dr. Duncan, Dr. Minkley, Alejandro Varela, Dennis Cadwell, Miguel Grajeda, and other long-term advocates for this project. During COVID times, CITO had the time to reconnect experts and in common agreement, take the lead for the working group, while completing permits required by Mexico to become the first environmental unit, UMA by its Spanish acronym, for the conservation of freshwater native species in 2021. In 2022, with the support of the National Park Service under the Southwest Border Resource Protection Program, we received funds to improve conservation pond infrastructure, providing assistance for monitoring population in each of the conservation ponds, Sonoyta, Sedmar, Covach, Pinacate, and Quirobac. Develop education activities and materials, both sides of the border. Support research activities like this genetic evaluation of Cyprinodon eremus done by Alejandro Varela and his students. And assessed and improved infrastructure. An example is we make maintenance to Sedmar and fully renovate the pond in Covach. And you can see how these ponds has been evolving. The pond in Cerro in 2008, then the renovation in 2015, and finally our brand new pond opened last week on May 2024. Collaboration, of course, plays a key role on this project, and we being able on securing collaboration thanks to the support of the Fish and Wildlife Service under this grant. Many people is participating, people, organizations, and institutions, from federal government, the state government, local high schools, and the indigenous nation, the Tohono O'odham. But what's next? Our goals for the near future include reproduction and conservation by bringing a group of 20 individuals of Sonoyta longfin days, Agosia chrysogaster, to the Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum in Tucson to establish a satellite population for future introduction in the wild, as well as advocating for the legal protection of these species and habitats. We would like to give a special thanks to some of the actual key players. Norma Cruz from Peces, Isela Gamboa, principal of Covach Sonoyta, Alejandro Varela, Dennis Cadwell, and team at CITO. These refuges are necessary to continue to provide a place to maintain species for the future, and secure funding is crucial to amplify the collective conservation efforts and accelerate the impact on freshwater species. For more information, please visit our website, seda.org, and follow us in social media. Thank you so much.